Right, so our insane Home Secretary Suella Braverman has, by weighing in on the murder of unarmed black man Chris Kaba, come down on the side of the police, in effect saying they should be above the law. It is catastrophic, inexcusable incompetence. She should be sacked with immediate effect. She's supposed to be a lawyer, for heaven's sake. What exactly is her view of the law, then? Just for the little people, is it? Sunak needs to remove this lunatic from office. She's a one-woman weapon of mass destruction on the political scene, basically saying the police officer who shot Kaba is innocent because no police officer should be punished for carrying out their duty. But this being a live, ongoing court case, surely she is just utterly prejudiced and undermined it. This is a really serious criminal prosecution, and surely she's ballsed it up now completely. What chance of justice is there for the family of Kaba, save Braverman losing her job at this point? And how dangerous a precedent is it setting if the police can get away with shooting suspects if there's no risk of any comeback from it? Right, so it's back-to-back Braverman vids, it seems here, day to day. Apologies for that, I suppose, but her idiocy has to be seen and heard to be believed. She is just the most poor appointment Sunak has ever made. And let's not forget that includes the appointment of tax avoiders, bullies and school collapse deniers at this point. But now we have a Home Secretary who has responsibility for our police forces, having just yesterday extolled the virtues of once again ditching the Human Rights Convention, now running away today to the US to say more of the same, but also having completely undermined both trust in the police and that the rule of law also applies to them, not even pausing to reflect on the fact what she's mouthed off about refers to a live, ongoing criminal case. She took to Twitter for her stupidity, saying, "We depend on our brave firearms officers to protect us from the most dangerous and violent in society. In the interest of public safety, they have to make split-second decisions under extraordinary pressures. They mustn't fear ending up in the dock for carrying out their duties. Officers risking their lives to keep us safe have my full backing, and I will do everything in my power to support them. That's why I have launched a review to ensure they have the confidence to do their jobs while protecting us all." So what? Do you want to give the Met Police a license to kill then? Because that's what this sounds like. This is the Met Police we're talking about here. I wonder how many people have much faith in their ability to protect anyway, given their track record of failure to the public. The case revolves around the murder of a chap called Chris Kaba, an unarmed black man shot dead by an armed police officer in London last year. Now, these people are highly trained, so the fact this case is being tried as a murder trial is significant, and there must be evidence, therefore, backing that up. An accidental shooting is manslaughter after all, and of course mistakes can and do happen. It's a very good reason for not having police officers all armed in this country, but some are, so invariably they are called to carry out that which they are trained for when appropriate. We can't say more than that now, because this is an ongoing trial. The facts need to be kept to the courtroom to avoid prejudice. Commenting on such things is a legal quagmire. Journalists are so careful when covering stuff like this. Political commentators like this mouthpiece here are the same. It's a mess you don't want to get yourself into, but Suella Braverman is just so blatantly batshit she doesn't seem to care, or it just doesn't register with her that she can't just go around doing and saying whatever she likes. So imagine if she gets her way with human rights legislation. It doesn't bear thinking about, does it? Now, the police themselves appear to be rallying around their colleague. You can kind of understand that, but just like us, most of them won't be privy to the details of the case themselves and the events leading up to the shooting of Mr. Kaba, who was killed by a single gunshot through the windscreen of his car. Many are now saying they won't carry the arms they're trained to use because they fear being had up on murder charges themselves. You can understand that to a point, I guess, but I would caveat that by saying if they think they're incapable of not shooting an innocent person, perhaps they shouldn't be armed police officers at all. I mean, is that not fairly obvious? But the evidence to back the charge that has been brought must be there to some extent as well. So do these police officers believe in being held accountable by the same law they're employed to uphold, or do they not? Ultimately, did they not choose to become firearms officers and by that take on board the risks involved, not just to them should they be shot at, but also to them should they screw up? Again, I have to draw attention to the fact this is a murder trial, so that implies not a mistake, but an intentional shooting of an innocent person, not an accidental shooting. And, more pertinently again, it is the Crown Prosecution Service itself that have actually chosen to treat it as a murder trial. So not only is Braverman seemingly giving the police a license to kill, and by that undermining our faith in the police that they'll protect us, but also undermining one of her own non-ministerial government departments, trusted to be run without direct governmental oversight, and set herself on a collision course with the current Director of Public Prosecutions. Now, the army is on standby to replace armed police, so they're now having to cover duties, again, that they shouldn't have to, such as the incompetence of this government. So Braverman, in charge of the Home Office, is now leading to martial law. Well, many have said that's where we'd end up with her in charge anyway, but who knew it would happen like this? And so it seems to be happening. The CPS have incidentally already issued a justification for the decision to charge the unnamed officer, they have anonymity, with murder in relation to this case, with Rosemary Ainsley, the head of the CPS's Special Crime Division, having said that the decision to charge the officer with murder followed a thorough review of the evidence provided by the Independent Office of Police Conduct, the IOPC. She's also gone on record as saying, the CPS reminds all concerned that criminal proceedings against the officer are active and that he has the right to a fair trial. It is extremely important there should be no reporting, commentary or sharing of information online which could in any way prejudice these proceedings. Clearly nobody told Leaky Sue that included her. She has undermined the police force, the CPS and the IOPC. She has prejudiced a live court case. She is in contempt of court, therefore. She has damaged the chances of Chris Kaba's family getting justice, and there's precedent for that, as a live trial regarding the deaths of 39 Vietnamese migrants found in the back of a lorry in 2018 got prejudiced by then Home Secretary Priti Patel, who tweeted out on the first anniversary of those deaths, whilst the trial was ongoing, 1 year ago today, 39 people lost their lives in horrific circumstances at the hands of ruthless criminals. The tweet was quickly deleted when she became aware of the prejudicial nature of her comment, but the case still got halted whilst lawyers had to decide what to do next. And in the end, 2 people were convicted of manslaughter over it. The defence lawyer said at the time on Patel's comment that it was unhelpful to say the least. I bet he said a damn sight more than that behind the scenes though. Well, Braverman's tweet was put out as a 3-part thread, and it remains up, despite the furore and the fallout. Who remembers when she gave the public the assurance when she was being criticised over police numbers that all crimes will be investigated, all except the ones she doesn't agree with personally, apparently. She'll interfere with those. So where's Rishi Sunak hiding in all of this, you might ask? She might resign, perhaps. She's done so before when she breached the ministerial code, but this time she's only broken the rule of law, so, priorities. Well, he's nowhere to be seen as usual. And again, as I've said hundreds and hundreds of times, he's too weak to sack her. He's utterly reliant on the ERG faction to keep him in post. Although with letters of no confidence going in based on his own limp-wristed track record, he may be facing a leadership challenge next month when his 1-year grace period is over, whether he deals with Braverman or not. So he's probably got little to lose right now. Of course, that would involve doing the right thing as well, and he wouldn't know where to begin on that score, would he? What do you make of this story, though? Is it being blown up out of all proportion, or has Braverman done irrevocable damage to this case, to the rule of law, to the government, or is Sunak worse for not acting on it? Do let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below and be part of the conversation. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the video useful. Please like, share and subscribe if you did. More content out daily. Meanwhile, here's a video recommendation where Braverman broke the law and got away with it a few months ago. Had to be dragged to court to fix it even. It was all over trying to save £3. And I'll hopefully see you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.